I'm Tracey Motoda, and I am from Newbury, California. When I was about 1 year old, I started walking, and my parents noticed that I was falling a lot, not running, not catching myself. They found out that I was diagnosed with a neuromuscular disease called spinal muscular atrophy, which basically means that over time, my muscles atrophy and lose strength. I went from walking up until I was 5. I got my first power wheelchair. My dad took me to my elementary school parking lot, and he plopped me in it, and he said, "Try it out, go full speed." And I did, and I felt the freedom I had never felt before. It was amazing. I could run away from my parents, which was awesome. And then my parents found out how to adjust the speed, and that didn't last, but it was still fun. I went to a really small school, and we pretty much all grew up together. So to them, I was just Tracey. I had this cool accessory of a wheelchair. People didn't treat me differently. I was never teased. I was very blessed to grow up in a town that I was very accepted. On Halloween, I often could not go trick-or-treating because it was always cold. In fact, I remember one year it even snowed on Halloween. So it's a little chilly for me, and when you have a disability, sometimes you can be more susceptible to extreme temperatures. And so I would sit at home, and I would be the one to pass out the candy to the other children, which never really bothered me. I was happy to do that. I had plenty of candy in the bowl in front of me. One of the boys I grew up with, his name was Jesse, and he lived about 2 streets away from me. Every year when he came to trick-or-treat our house, he always brought me candy. I didn't realize until later in life what that really meant, how profound of inclusion that was, that he thought to give some of his own to me because he knew it was probably a bummer that I couldn't participate in such a childhood activity. And without fail, he did it every year. Unfortunately, Jesse's life ended far too early, passed away when we were in our late 20s. And I shared that story with his mom, and she sent me his Halloween bucket that she still had. It says Jesse on the bottom. I just love it. It just touched me so much that she would share a little piece of him with me. And so every year now on Halloween, I pass out candy from Jesse's Halloween bucket to honor him and to honor how he included me as a child when he didn't surely have to. I think it's important for people to understand that even though I live my life with a disability, I don't get up every morning and think, oh my gosh, I'm disabled, right? I get up every morning and think, I have an amazing job I get to go to every day where I get to help people. And I get to see my husband every day, and we get to come home at the end of the day and have dinner together. People sometimes assume and get stuck in those same feelings I had as a teenage girl, that people that are different or not as physically able would not have a marriage. But that's so not true. So my life is so much bigger than my disability. Just as you and anyone else has things that keep them busy, I have those too. And they're certainly not because of my wheelchair. They're because of the things I love to do and the things that have become my passion.